Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Sauer. Welcome to AP Computer Science Principles. We're just going to go over the handbook in this video. So first off, we're going to look at my contact information. We are not allowed to use Remind this year, so I will be using my school email. I don't suggest calling my school phone number because it's kind of hard to see if I have a message, but I have to put that information on here. And lastly, I did use an app called Burner to make this phone number, and I'll have all of this contact information on Google Classroom as well. So you have it, and you can feel free to text me at that number, kind of like as if it was Remind, if you're more comfortable with that. Materials will be posted on Google Classroom, and grades will be kept in Schoology. So Google Classroom, but then if you want to check your grades, you can go to Schoology, and we have that set up too. Office hours on Mondays and Fridays during both scheduled lunch periods, so you're guaranteed to have one of those free by appointment, which means you can send me an email, send me a text, say, hey, can you meet me at a Google Meet to get help between 10:45 and 12. I'll be there. Wednesdays from 9 to 10 and 1 to 2, I'll be there no matter what. So on Mondays and Fridays, you just need to contact me to let me know that you want me to go on Google Meet, and on Wednesdays I'll definitely be there. So that's for any help, say hi, whatever it might be. Our AP exam format, it's a little different than all the other AP tests. We actually have a project that's worth 30% where you write a program, and then we have a traditional multiple choice test that's 70%. For the create task, which is that program that you make, you actually get a lot of class time to work on that. So whether or not that's actual class time or 3 weeks basically online, which is what it was last year to work on it, you don't have other stuff you need to work on in class, and you're given time to do that. Online classroom rules, part 1. Basically, you want to come to all Google Meets. The ways you can be an active learner. Okay, so this is, how do I learn even if I'm having trouble? Make sure you watch the class videos. I don't mind if you watch them faster. I know that we all kind of do that, but it is important that you actually watch them. You can ask your classmates questions. You can look up online resources. There are tons of online resources, probably more than anything else for programming and other computer science topics. And lastly, ask for my help whenever you need it. How do you ask a question in this class? You can ask a general question online, right? You can just send me an email and ask me a basic question. There are more specific ways. If you're having trouble in one of the programs we're using, I can actually go in and see your work on there, or you can copy and paste your code and say, can you run this and see why it's not working? So there are ways that I can actually see what you're doing even though we're not together. I'm going to set up student discussion boards on Google Classroom. I'm going to try to find a way where you guys can kind of work together and collaborate, even though you're not in the room together. And lastly, you can ask at the Google Meet. I'll ask, kind of field questions at the beginning of each one of those. Ways to be respectful online: keep yourself on mute unless you have a question or during open conversation. That's mostly just, background noise from your family or whatever. Do not write or say anything inappropriate or derogatory. I suggest turning on your camera. I'm not going to require it, but I know for me, it holds me more accountable when I have my camera on versus, hey, maybe I'll leave and, go work on something else. I will not as a teacher, but, all of us feel that. So having your camera on is good. Come to Google Meets with a positive attitude, even if, you have other stuff going on or whatever, it's going to be way more required this year. So you want to just kind of get used to that. Finish your work on time if you can. So really, you want to stay on top of things, especially since you have, a lot of management to do with all your classes at home. The only reason you might not finish something is if you don't understand it. So as soon as you don't understand it, ask me. Keep that communication going is the last point. You're kind of a little more responsible for yourself because I don't see you every day in the same way I would if I was your teacher to kind of ask about things. I can't watch your face or see your computer to see that you're getting errors and things like that. So you just have to kind of reach out to me when you need that help. Supplies, I have to put this on here, have something to write with to take notes. When I do send home materials, which I'm not sure how often that will be, keep them together in a binder or a folder. And then lastly, you want to make sure you have a device to work on, which you need anyway for school. The bigger the screen, the better. the programs we use will not work on an iPad or a telephone, or cell phone. A Chromebook's fine though. The screen's kind of small, but you can totally do the work on that, or a laptop or a desktop computer. The units we're going to cover for the year. Sorry, let me get this highlighting off. Digital information and intro to programming 1. So we're kind of splitting up this turtle unit into 2 units. Then the internet and programming 2. Then we're going to work on app design on code.org. It is not like you need something called Swift, basically a programming language called Swift that you run on a Mac if you wanted to make apps that you could put in like the iPhone App Store. But we will be making apps that you can run more like a website, but it looks like an app on your phone. So we're going to be working through what's called App Lab in units 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is a heavy programming focus. In 1 and 2, we have some of these more other computer science topics. Algorithms is a little bit more of a topical, and we'll look at like how do you make different things work? Like how do you come up with solutions for different types of problems? Then we will do that create performance task for the AP exam. We'll talk more about how computers use data and see some programs that do that. And then lastly, we'll finish up with cybersecurity and the global impacts. How has computing changed the world? What do we have to consider? Things like that. So that's basically our year summary. Grading wise, I grade on total points. Pretty straightforward, get as many points as you can, and I divide that by the total points to get your grade. Homework, I have to include a homework section, which everything's kind of homework, so I'm just going to explain the setup. It says for the first 2 units on your 2 asynchronous days, Tuesday, Friday for period 3, Monday, Thursday for period 8, we will be doing topical lessons with short related assignments. So I'm going to take those other computer science topics, make videos, you can watch them and do little assignments with those. That will be due by the next synchronous class. So if you, on Tuesday, it'll be due by Thursday because Wednesday is that office hours day. If it's a Monday, it'll be due by Tuesday. And you'll see my schedule on Google Classroom as you do for this week. In those synchronous meetings, we'll review the lessons as needed. I'm also going to kind of give you guys time to just work on the coding at the same time, not necessarily me teaching it, but you can ask questions. I can kind of see what you're doing and just have that time where we're there together because a lot of little questions do come up. I mean, I think of last year and I would walk around the room and just, help people with stuff, and we're going to have to kind of create that as much as we can. So attendance at the Google Meets will count as towards your attendance. I'm basically going to use completion of assignments for attendance on the other days. We are required this year to take attendance every day. On the office hours day, there'll be some sort of short review assignment, and this whole schedule will start more officially next week. We do have assignments this week, but it's more just intro stuff. So it says the plan may deviate at times, but this is our general structure that we're going to use for those first 2 units. We'll revisit, hopefully we're back in school by the time we get to that 3rd unit, maybe even in the 2nd unit, but we have to kind of see where things go. Lastly, when you miss a day of school, also something I have to include in my syllabus. So it says, what is school anyway? The answer to that question will change many times this year. This year will be very assignment-based. Okay, so your grades are based on assignments. You should make every effort to be at Google Meets, classes during hybrid learning, etc. It will really help your understanding of the material, especially since we have so little face-to-face time together. In addition, I will be taking attendance every day as outlined in the homework section. Still, your grade will be based on completion of assignments and grades on tests and projects. So, as usual, attendance is important in the way that it helps you keep up with things. Obviously, you want to get your assignments in on time to get the best grades you can. And it says the consequences for repeated absences are outlined in the district website. So they're pretty strict this year. If you're not doing your work for a couple days, we have to call home. If you still don't respond, then the principals have to call. There's a line of command, I guess you could say, on what happens when you're not doing your work. So just make sure you are, okay? I look forward to seeing you guys at our first Google Meet on Thursday. And yeah, just have a great year. Hopefully, I know it's going to be crazy the first couple of days. Just, email when you need help. Everybody wants to be a help to you and help you guys get off on the right start.